This is the AEW Collision May 8, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Masonic Temple Theatre in Detroit, Michigan. AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm's music hits and she rises up from the seat area with the spotlight on her. Storm says so many men have taken a shot at her and she feels like Abraham Lincoln. Storm then talks about how it was first sweaty and painful, but she wanted more, then says one day it will not end well with her, but it is what she was born to do. Storm then says the best bang is nothing compared to fighting for the AEW Women's World Championship. Storm then says she is not waiting in line for next CEOs and next week. Storm then says let's get timeless and then disappears down into the seats. We then head to the back, where we see Paragon being interviewed by Lexi Nair. O'Reilly and Strong talk about the disappointment they had in losing to FTR, but Adam Cole assures them that it wouldn't be long before they were back at the top. The grizzled young veterans then show up to challenge them, saying they forgot what it was like to fight for their spot and they will provide a fight to remind them. Then we saw a match between Ricochet versus Angelico. Angelico grabs the arm of Ricochet and sends him down. Ricochet is up, but Angelico gets Ricochet into a full arm drag twist. Angelico then locks up Ricochet and slaps him across the head. In the end, Ricochet defeated Angelico by pinfall with the Spirit Gun. Ricochet spots Zach Goen in the front row and approaches him, talking about how awesome it was when Brock Lesnar kicked his ass. He pushes Goen around and says he doesn't have a leg in the fight anymore. Ricochet beats security's ass and mocks them while doing so. He uses scissors to cut the hair of one security guy. Goen gets in the ring and stops Ricochet. Ricochet kicks his leg out and drops him on the mat. He follows up by taking out Goen with the Spirit Gun. Ricochet yanks off Zach's prosthetic leg and poses over him with it, mocking his walk on the way out. Then we saw a match between Don Callis family versus Bandito, Air Fox, and the Outrunners, and the result of this match was Don Callis family defeats Bandito, Air Fox, and the Outrunners by pinfall. Then we see that AEW announced Ricochet will face Zach Goen on Dynamite next week. We then head to the back, where Jon Moxley is cutting a promo about the cage match with Samoa Joe. Moxley says he knew he was going to get beat up, but could Joe really keep going long enough to beat him? Moxley then promises that no matter what Joe has done, he had been through worse, then says he faced demons that keep people up at night and he was going to take the fight to Joe. Moxley then says he will be the last man standing against Joe and there is no place he would rather be. Then we saw a match between Anthony Bowens versus Lee Johnson, and the result of this match was Anthony Bowens defeated Lee Johnson by pinfall. After the match, Bowens grabs a mic and says what you just saw was the IT factor of professional wrestling. Bowens then says throw them up and make some noise and Bowens and Gunn do the scissor. The Gates of Agony then make their way down to the ring and Bishop Kaun grabs a mic and says Big Bill and Brian Keith aren't going to redeem themselves by beating them. Toa Liona then says he wanted to fight right now and the Learning Tree make their way down to the ring and start brawling with the Gates of Agony. Liona then charges so fast at Bill that he crashes into the barricade and falls into the front row. Kaun then grabs Keith and hits a Death Valley driver off the stage through 2 tables on Keith. Liona then spears Bill off the other side of the stage through another set of tables. Officials then come down to check on all 4 men. Then we saw a match between Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. Chris then goes from behind to grab Willow, but she counters and slams Chris down. Willow then mocks Chris as Statlander slaps Willow and sends her down. Chris covers Willow for only a 2 count, then both women then slap each other in the face and things turn into a slugfest. Willow then sends Chris down after a big punch to the jaw. Willow then comes back and hits Chris with a big pounce, sending Chris to the floor. Willow then comes off the apron and hits Chris with a big cannonball onto the floor. Statlander then goes for a discus lariat, but Willow counters and powerbombs Chris onto the floor. Wheeler Yuta then comes out. Marina Shafir then hits the ring and chokes out Willow, while the referee is checking on Statlander. Statlander then gets back in the ring. Statlander then picks up Willow and drops her on her head, and won the match by pinfall. We then get a video package hyping up the return of Skye Blue next week on Beach Break. Then we saw a match between Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander versus Evil Uno and Alex Reynolds, and the result of this match was Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander won the match by pinfall. Then we saw a match between Speedball Mike Bailey versus Dralistico, and the result of this match was Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Dralistico by pinfall. Rush comes out after the match is over and points at Bailey in a menacing way. Speedball dares him to enter the ring, but Rush stays put. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Daniel Garcia versus Dax Harwood, and the match ended in a no contest when they brawl over to the commentary table where Dax smacks off Nigel's headset and shoves him. Nigel has had enough and runs into the ring to attack FTR. The ref throws out the match as Daddy Magic, Nigel, and Garcia stand tall, and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's Collision show? Tell me in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel, and thanks for watching.